Last year, 20,000 poker fans and enthusiasts landed in London's world-famous Leicester Square for Poker in the Park, and this year's event is set to be even bigger. Poker in the Park 4 forms part of the brand new London Poker Festival and takes place on the 2nd and 3rd of September. And here to tell us more about the events is organiser Michael Caselli. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you, Angus.
So, Michael, tell me a bit more about the London Poker Festival.
Well, the London Poker Festival is essentially the world's largest gathering of poker events. We've put together over 55 tournaments, a dozen cash games, and loads of other fun events like, well, of course, we've got Poker in the Park, we've got parties, we've got lectures, we've got opportunities to meet your favorite players, and just the British Poker Awards, just loads of great things going on in London, over 100 events during the period between the 30th of August and the 30th of September, which of course also is the period where you have the World Poker Tour, the English Poker Open, and the World Series of Poker Europe happening here. So really, London is awash with poker for the entire month.
And obviously, Poker in the Park last year, it was a huge success. And how are you going to better that event this year?
Well, last year we thought we filled every piece of grass on Leicester Square with poker tents, and apparently we didn't. We could actually fit a dozen tents, so we've added 2 more tents this year. We've added a second poker playing area where you can play free sit-and-goes every hour on the hour. So now we've got the Poker Dome, which we've always had, and we've added another dome called the Poker Plex. So we've got the Bodog Poker Dome on one side, and we've got the Red Hot Poker Plex on the other. So we've actually added 50% more sit-and-goes to the tournament. Then we've added just a lot more fun things to do. Victory Poker's got this new concept for dunk poker. So you'll play heads up, and the person that loses actually can go in the dunk tank, or elect to have one of the beautiful models from Victory Poker sit in the dunk tank for them. Yeah. At their discretion. You've got BiddyBot, who are doing a live auction. Real Deal Poker is bringing Evander Holyfield down. They're setting up a boxing ring in the middle of Leicester Square, and people can come and play heads up with Evander. Besides that, they've got a heads up challenge with Evander up at the Empire, where they're actually going to be playing an online qualified tournament right there at the Empire, and a Evander Holyfield Invitational tournament the following day.
And of course, education, a big part of the
Absolutely.
event. And last year you had 2 World Series winners in the form of Jamie Gold and Peter Eastgate. Who can we expect to be taking part in the lectures this year?
Well, injury permitting, and he tells me he's getting better very quickly. We've got Phil Locke down there. We've got Neil Channing, Nick Wealthall's down there, and Devilfish, who just launched his new book, has called us up, and he says he wants to come down and talk about the new book and talk about poker and take any kind of questions. So we'll have Devilfish down there as well.
And it is a hugely popular event. Why do you think fans, do make the trip to London for this sort of event?
It's the only event like this in the whole world. It really is the world's biggest poker fair, Poker in the Park. And it's just fun, it's free, it gets people excited about poker. It's really for the enthusiast. If you're a good poker player, you can come down and you can learn a lot in our lecture theater. We're running lectures every hour on the hour. And if you really want to fine-tune your game, we actually have a live tuition tent where 10 people sit with a pro, and the pro analyzes their play in real time as they're actually playing their game. But if you just want to have some fun, you could come down, you could play in the sit-and-goes, you can interact with all the other tents, and there's just loads of fun things to do. So there's just nothing else in poker that's so much fun. So I think that's why people are coming down from all over the place.
And going on to one of the other events, the English Poker Open makes its move from Nottingham down to London this year. It attracted some big names last year. What can we expect from this year's event?
Well, the organisers tell me they're expecting it to be even bigger. The rumours are it could be up to 400 players. So we'll see what happens there. But there's a big opening night at Movida, and then following that, you've obviously got the tournament. It's going to be down at the Palm Beach, so they always put on a good tournament there. So I expect it to be a very professionally run tournament. I expect it to be very good. Essentially, you could find kind of all the information at the LondonPokerFestival.com website. So you could actually track every day what's going on.
And another new event to the poker calendar, the British Poker Awards. Very exciting that we are, finally getting an awards ceremony that reflects the growing interest in poker in the UK.
Absolutely.
Tell me more about that.
Well, that's huge. There's never been recognition just for British poker players. Of course, American poker players get a lot of recognition, a lot of television time with all the coverage on ESPN and all the other channels that cover it there. But we've got some great players here, and we usually have a great turnout at the World Series in Vegas. And basically, it's about time, I think, that British poker players are recognized as world-class players because, truly, British poker is at the top of its game. So the British Poker Awards specifically honor British players in 11 different categories, everywhere from best cash player to best tournament player to best online player. And we've got awards that people can vote on. So there's Reader Choice Awards at thebritishpokerfestival.com. So we've had something like 5,000 votes since we launched the site just a few weeks ago, and we're expecting 8,000 to 10,000 people voting on who they think is the best of British. And once we get those votes in, we're going to be awarding those players with a trophy and a nice ceremony. And we're also offering some awards that are player-based. So actually the professional players are going to vote one of their peers for one of the awards categories.
As you mentioned, with the WPT, the EPO, the WSOP Europe, all taking place in the end of August into September, the eyes of the poker world really are on London at the moment. Is London becoming a sort of new mini Vegas?
I wouldn't say it's a mini Vegas. It's different, but I would say it's on par with Vegas. With the London Poker Festival, this is actually bigger than anything that's been done in Vegas for poker. It sort of took... We came at this from the point of view of Bluff Europe. So we're not competing with any of these card rooms. We're not competing within the online rooms. So we have the opportunity to kind of get everyone to work together to put something together that is bigger than what any single card room or any single tour could do. So because of that, I think we've kind of created something that in aggregate is bigger than what you would find in Vegas or Atlantic City or anywhere else in the world. So would I say we're a mini Vegas? No, I think London stands on its own for poker.
So regulation and credit crunch, two key phrases that have affected the industry over the past 12 months. And what do you think the outlook is going to be, and how do you think it's affected the industry?
I think online and land-based poker companies have kind of embraced the legislation. Everyone recognizes that we need player protection, that there need to be certain rules. So I think the government's done a good job, actually, in that area. As far as the credit crunch goes, I think you're seeing the major tournaments kind of adjust for that. You're seeing a 1,000-pound event at the World Series of Poker Europe, and I think you're seeing a lot of low-stakes games happening in London now. There are some 25 pence, 50 pence games going on, and there are 50 pence, £1 games going on as well. I know at Bluff at the Mint, which is a card room we work with in conjunction with Genting Casinos, we've now spread a 50 pence, £1 game for people that want to come in and play low stakes. So the credit crunch doesn't really affect poker. I think the poker adjusts for that, and poker in reality is a pretty cheap form of entertainment. So players are continuing to play. They're maybe just adjusting their stakes if they need to.
And getting back to the World Series of Poker Europe, it's entering its 4th year now.
Right.
And how do you think players are sort of seeing this event? Is it a major event in the world calendar, or is it really very much the little brother to the event in Vegas?
You know, it's a bracelet event. It's still the World Series of Poker. It's got a great international brand name, so I think this is a really well-respected event. A lot of players come from all over the world to play in it, and you know, some of the top British players are playing in it because everyone wants a bracelet. And it's a pretty good way to get a bracelet because the fields tend to be a little bit smaller. And while the very expensive, well, the very top events, the main event, are still expensive at £10,000, so that really only caters to the very, very top level echelon of players, you've now got that £1,000 event that a lot more people could participate in. So I think it's a great way to get a bracelet.
And at the London Poker Festival, which events are you particularly looking forward to?
Poker in the Park is always great. It's always so much fun. It's always huge, and it's great to see all the poker enthusiasts come down, and it's great to provide something that's free for the whole poker community. The British Poker Awards are going to be fantastic because it's about time we started recognizing British poker. Basically, the public can go and buy tickets as well. It's followed by a tournament where you'll get to play with all the nominees and all the award winners. So it's kind of a neat way to sit there and play with some pros and kind of see, you know, the best of British poker. We've got a very fun event going on at Stringfellows Dance Club. It's called Baller Strip Poker. So it's just a fun event. It's for charity, and players will come down and play a game of strip poker. But fortunately, the poker players aren't going to be doing the stripping. It's actually the Stringfellows dancers that'll be doing the stripping. So that'll be good fun. We've got 3 poker academies going on during the month, so people can get a really high-level lecture from big names in poker. Antonio Esfandiari is putting on a Antonio Esfandiari player party over at Funky Buddha, so you can come to that. That's open to the public. There'll also be a lot of big names in town. We're putting on 2 or 3 bluff parties during the festival, so people could come down and interact again and party with the biggest names in the game. So it's really, besides the 55 tournaments, besides the dozen-plus cash games, besides all the poker that's being spread in addition to these major tournaments, we've also got 20-plus fun events for poker players to just come down, instill some camaraderie, and just have a good time. So basically, the full calendar has over 100 different items on it, and it's all available for people to come and look at the London Poker Festival, or sorry, LondonPokerFestival.com.
And you mentioned the big names sort of descending on London during this month-long event. In terms of new players, who are the ones you're watching at the moment?
Well, you know, everyone is worried, well, not worried, everyone's excited that we may finally get to meet Isildur. Isildur 1, of course, the big online player over at Full Tilt. No one knows who he is. He's still a big enigma, and I think everyone's very excited about him maybe coming down and playing in one of these events. He was rumored to be coming down for another earlier event. He didn't show up, and now we're kind of all just wondering who this guy is because his swings have been massive online.
Okay, well, Michael, it's great to speak to you. All the best and good luck with the London Poker Festival and Poker in the Park specifically as well. And of course, Poker in the Park takes place on the 2nd and 3rd of September in London's Leicester Square, and the event is absolutely free. We will be down there with our cameras as well, so we may well see you there. In the meantime, it's goodbye.